Gallant, you have the floor for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you. And on that note, maintaining Canada's strong commitments to NORAD encompass maritime, aerial situational awareness. The frontier being exploited by both ISIL and Putin is cyberspace. So how is National Defense currently collaborating with the U.S. Cyber Command for the defense of North America?
Well, before there's a lot of, when it comes to our cybersecurity, there's a lot of work that not just from a national defense perspective, also as you know, CSC comes under my mandate as well. A lot of great work is being done. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff I can't actually discuss in this forum. I think right now we are well poised in a defensive posture, but we need to be mindful that even though I'm comfortable with where we're at, we need to be able to evolve with the technology, because technology is changing rapidly, and the investments have to be in. We need to invest in the right areas to making sure that we continue to evolve.
Thank you. Now, Putin's current narrative is that World War III is just a matter of time. RS-24 ICBM systems were rolled down the streets of Moscow last year. How does the minister plan to work with the United States to help safeguard North America from this type of threat?
We are, in regards to some of the images, I think all of us have been watching on TV from the early days of the parades in the early Soviet Union and even to this day. So regardless of how Putin, his rhetoric might be portrayed on the media, whether he's talking to the outside world or talking to internally to his own country. We're very fortunate. We have a very unique binational relationship with the U.S., and that is NORAD, where we've, in terms of where we're at and where we need to go. My recent visit to NORAD, I was able to get a really good picture of our defensive posture and our capabilities. Where we need to look forward now is what is NORAD going to look like? What is NORAD renewal going to look like? That's a discussion that we need to have here in Canada, but also that's a discussion that the U.S. also needs to have. And how do we, as two nations, going to move forward to making sure that the defense of North America is going to look 10, 20 years from now? And it's not an easy game to predict threats, but that's something that we need to make sure that we invest in the right technologies and making sure that we have the right command relationship and the necessary tools to be able to carry this out.
Okay, so Russia is strengthening its nuclear posture. How will our military be equipped to prepare to help defend North America from this type of threat? Now, you've mentioned NORAD, but I'm looking for something more concrete. How are we actually, as a nation, going to be able to help defend North America?
Without getting into in terms of the hypothetical, the questions in terms of it all depends on what type of threat that we'll be facing. Right now, our best defense is making sure that we do not get into a position where get into a World War III type of scenario, as Putin has, as you stated in rhetoric that he is creating. Making sure that we have the right communication, the right diplomacy to prevent that. But having said that, we as a nation need to be mindful how we're going to look at our own sovereignty, making sure that we have the right equipment moving forward. And a lot of these questions, I'm hoping we will be able to answer at the defense review. What type of capabilities are needed? I don't want to get into the exact details of what type of equipment we need to buy. What type of capabilities is going to be the key? How we're going to be integrated? How is our command structure in terms of our relationship is going to continue? And where do we need to invest in the technologies, and where do we need to invest in our people to making sure that we have the right defensive posture to prevent any type of attack.
Okay. According to NATO, there's a very real but not yet fully identified risk of foreign fighters in ISIL's ranks using chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear materials as weapons of terror against the West. What is the minister doing to defend against this type of threat, recognizing that a threat is just a threat until it happens? What are we doing in advance?
No, in fact, we when it especially comes to these type of enemies, is to predict what type of capabilities that they might be bringing forward. This is something that has been identified. Our troops have the right equipment in place. They have the right training to be able to deal with it. And more importantly, we have to make sure we have the right intelligence assets to be able to predict any type of attacks that they might be carrying out. We are aware of their rudimentary ability for this, but nonetheless, our troops have the right equipment and the right training to be able to deal with this.